All right, let's dive into a story today. It's a parable, really. It's all about rabbits, parsley, and a financial revolution that absolutely rocked their village. This is the parable of crypto parsley.
So, it all kicked off one morning with this one terrified scream that just rips through Rabbit Village. You can just imagine the panic spreading like wildfire. See, one rabbit's entire life savings of parsley, it had just vanished from the village record book. Poof! Gone overnight. How on earth could that even happen?
I mean, really think about that. What if you woke up, checked your bank account, and it was just empty, and the bank had no idea why? Well, that is the exact crisis that slammed into Rabbit Village. Their whole economy, their entire system of trust, was built on a foundation that was, well, incredibly fragile.
Now, to understand how the rabbits solved this mess, we first have to get our heads around how the Great Parsley Heist was even possible in the first place. And here's the thing. The problem wasn't some master thief, the problem was the system itself. You see, everything, and I mean every single parsley transaction, every rabbit's personal wealth, was written down in one single big ledger book. And this book was kept right in the town square. It was supposed to be the one and only source of truth for the entire village. And that right there is where it all goes wrong. With only one ledger, you have what's called a single point of failure. If anything happened to that book, if it got lost or damaged, or worse, changed, the whole economy would just collapse into total chaos.
And that's exactly what happened. One sneaky rabbit, under the cover of darkness, tiptoed into the town square, opened up that ledger, and with just a few strokes of a pen, completely rewrote history, moving a whole bunch of parsley into their own name. One rabbit, exploiting one single point of failure, and the entire system was broken.
Okay, so the village was in total turmoil. But, rabbits are pretty resourceful. They knew they couldn't just go back to the old way of doing things. No, they had to rebuild their entire financial system from the ground up, based on a new principle that would make a secret heist like that totally impossible. The very first rule of their new system was pretty radical. They decided to just get rid of the single central ledger. Completely. Never again would one single book hold all the power over everyone's fortunes. So instead, they did something kind of magical. They made a copy of the ledger for every single rabbit in the village. Now think about that. Everyone had an identical record of every transaction that ever happened. So for a sneaky rabbit to change the record now, they wouldn't just have to change one book, they'd have to change every single book at the exact same time without a single soul noticing. Basically, impossible.
But that brings up a good question, right? How do you keep all of these copies perfectly in sync? How do you add new transactions? Well, they invented this brand new process, a totally transparent and collective system they started calling the unbreakable chain. So here's how it worked. First up, all the recent transactions get gathered together into what they called a block. Then, that block is shown to the whole village, and everyone verifies that it's all legit. Once the community gives it the thumbs up, the block gets cryptographically locked onto the previous one, creating a chain. And here's the most important part. Once a block is added, it is there forever. It's permanent. There is absolutely no going back.
So suddenly, the rabbits didn't even need physical parsley anymore. Their wealth was now just represented by entries in this shared, unbreakable digital ledger. It wasn't something you grew in the soil, it was something secured by code, and they gave it a name: crypto parsley.
And this right here leads us to the most revolutionary idea in this whole story. The rabbits didn't just invent a new currency, they invented a whole new kind of trust.
Just think about the advantages here for a second. There was no central bank, no all-powerful rabbit controlling the whole system. Every single transaction was totally transparent for anyone to see on the chain. And because of the way the chain was built, the system was immutable. You just couldn't change the records. The rules were literally baked into the system itself.
So here's the big takeaway. Trust was no longer placed in some single institution or some single rabbit who could, be compromised or make a mistake. Trust was now placed in the code of the system itself, a system that was transparent, collective, and unbreakable. Trust now equaled code. But this new world of crypto parsley wasn't all just about security. It also brought a ton of new opportunities and a whole lot of new risks. And this led to something the rabbits started calling the carrot field gamble.
So in this new economy, you can think of crypto parsley as the day-to-day cash, but carrot fields, that was still the real long-term wealth. Pretty soon, the value of crypto parsley started to swing wildly, driven by all this village-wide speculation and excitement. Some rabbits, through really clever trading, managed to multiply their parsley tenfold, like overnight. But others, they made the wrong bets and they lost everything. Not just their parsley, but their entire carrot fields.
And this really gets to the central paradox of their new financial world, doesn't it? It's secure, it's transparent, it's decentralized, but it is also incredibly volatile. What is it that creates these huge, massive swings? And how do you even navigate a system where the trust is in the code, but the value is driven by what everyone else believes? Well, that, my friends, is the real gamble of crypto parsley.